our gear for our hero. In our previous lesson, we were able to spend a great amount of time working on our hands, and so you can see that we now have a lot of details here on our hand. And then for our foreground hand, we're able to just use the same principles that we did for our background hand, and went ahead and knocked that out. And so now let's focus on our gear. And so we have a few types of gear for our character. We have these metal pieces, so it's almost like a green armor that we'll have for this chest piece. Then we'll have some nice textured leather. If you want to take a look at our pencils, you can remember now that what we had going on here. And so I'm going to actually knock that out. So remember, we had like this texture here, we had the metal. So the armbands will be leather. This little piece will be metal, and these little pieces will be like same type of metal as our chest piece. And then our boots will be like a two-tone, so we'll have like brown and then green leather for our boots. Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and turn back on our layers here. And so what we'll do is we're going to focus on our gear layer, and let's go ahead and lock down our transparency. And we're going to just start out just creating some nice smoothing with this piece. We're going to grab our mixer brush, and so our mixer brush is very cool because it has a lot of properties. Like, it can use paint to kind of mix up paint. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create a brush. So let's go ahead and grab our cotton blender here. So we'll start out with the cotton blender. Double click on that, but we want to make some adjustments. So let's go ahead and this little button right here, this will allow it to load the brush. And so we want to be able to load up ink as we're blending. And then for our wetness, we're going to bring that down, and our load, bring that down as well. We're going to keep the mix at around 51%. And so the flow, we're going to make adjustments to here and there as we're working. But we want to make sure that we have the best type of brush. So like the flow is how much ink is being used as we start to blend. So if I brought this down to 1% and I started to blend here, you can see that I'm not really at doing anything. But if I bring that back up, then you can see now that I'm able to do some blending, and we're able to see that color come through. So we'll keep that at, let's try about 70%. And then we're going to just come through and we're going to blend some of this in just a little bit. And so if I decrease that flow a little bit more, then we're now focusing more on the existing colors. So we'll just kind of blend this out. And then if you wanted to also, one thing, I need to make sure I'm not sampling our layers, all layers here. And so just to make sure just made sure I didn't want to accidentally paint outside of our area as well. So make sure you turn off the sampling all the layers. And so we want to take and blend. Now this is on the same layer as our leather pieces, and if it would help you to separate this out, then you're more than welcome to separate it out from the leather pieces. So we'll just take and blend just like that. And then what we'll do is we're going to create a darker color. And so we'll go ahead and create a nice, really dark green color. Somewhere in here. Almost black, but not quite. And so we're going to use this as like our shadows. So maybe we'll bring our flow back up to about 100%. So what we're doing is we're creating the dark parts of our shadow. So I do want to also hit all the edges with this color. Just like that. That'll just help define everything. And then we'll go ahead and I'm going to back up one step there. Okay, I'm going to decrease my brush size, and I'm going to go ahead and draw that little separation here between the metal and the leather. And then up here on the back, that little shadow there. Go ahead and define that. And then here underneath the leather, I'm going to increase the brush size now. I'm just going to take and pull that color forward using that dark as well. And then I'm going to take that shadow here and just bring it up underneath just like that. So that'll just really help out. And then go ahead and we're going to take that dark, kind of create some shadow just like that. And then here underneath, we'll go ahead and just kind of bring in some shadow. But then I'm going to increase my brush size a little bit. I'm just going to take and I'm just pushing over that dark color. Just pushing it back. And then we'll decrease our brush size. And I just want to now define the foreground from the background by creating some more shadow right here. Just kind of separate those two pieces out. Great. All right, so now we need to come through and we're going to add just a little bit of highlights now. And so we're going to create that by just grabbing our lighter color. So somewhere in there, something like that. And then we'll decrease our brush size for that. We're just going to take that color and bring that in. We'll take that and kind of create this little band right here. And then on our foreground piece, we're going to take that and just add that color over here. And then maybe a little bit down. And then underneath, we'll go ahead and add just a little bit of banding down here. And then on the back we'll need a little bit of highlights here. And then what we'll do to kind of pull all this together is we're going to grab our blending, or our smudge tool, I should say. And so with the smudge tool isn't using any kind of paint. All it's doing is just moving paint around. And so it really helps to have some little highlights in place. So before I do that, actually, let's go ahead and grab our brush tool. I want to add a couple more highlights and shadows before we move on to this tool. And so I'm just going to grab our line tool. And I'm just going to use that foreground color. Maybe increase it just a hair there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come through and just create some little highlights. Just like that. And then here on this side as well. And then underneath, I'm going to take and create that highlight. And then on the back. So maybe I'm going to go ahead and change that to lighten or screen. We'll just take and create these little highlights here. And then I'm also going to create a few little shadows. So I'll just take and kind of bring this down like that. And then maybe we'll even go ahead and create that little highlight line. It's going to be down here at the bottom. But then I want to go ahead and choose one of these really dark greens here. And I'm going to change my mode to multiply. We'll go ahead and increase that size just a little. We're going to come through and just going to add just a little bit of a line here. Something like that. And then go ahead and hit up that side, and then go ahead and add a line right there. Make sure we have that nice little separation. And what we're doing is we're kind of creating some areas so that we can blend that. Now we can use our blender. So we're going to, or our smudge tool, we're going to make our strength about 70%, making sure that we don't have either one of these selected. And so this is just a regular soft brush with 0 hardness. And watch as I take this brush and I start to just take and push this through the colors that we've created. So what we're getting is a really nice effect. It looks like we have some true bending or shapes that we've created in this metal. So it's a really nice effect. We'll even take some of this, pull this through, just like that. Maybe even take it and pull it all the way through, so we looks like that this leather, or that this material actually has some different curves and ridges in it. So once you have some nice effects like this, then you can come back with your line tool and you can actually go in and kind of accentuate some of this. So it's a little bit dark. I'm going to bring my flow down a little bit more. So I'm just going to go through and add just some little lines that we're going to use. Awesome. And so once we've added a few of those, you can even come back and we'll maybe even grab this green color, and you can add some little highlights, maybe just like that. So even on the bottom, maybe take and create some of those lines coming through, and on the back we'll do the same. And so this is awesome because you're taking and you're blending this in, and it's really looking like metal. So then we can even take and lighten this up, and we're going to create just a few more highlights here. And then all you gotta do is take your smudge tool. You're just gonna smudge those out. Awesome. So just, take that and add some little highlights here and there, and just smudge those out until it looks like metal. Maybe come through, and we're going to grab our super soft. So let's go to our brush before we're completely finished here. And remember our super soft tool, we're going to just choose black, or maybe almost black. We can put a little bit of green in there. We're going to go to multiply. I just want to add just a little bit of shadow in here. Just a little bit, just to kind of help out. Something like that. Man, that looks awesome. All right, so I think that looks really good. So that technique that we've just used here for the metal, go ahead and use that same technique for our little knee plates, and then, or for our thigh plates here. And then in our next lesson, we're going to start working on our leather work. And so in between lessons here, I'm going to just maybe add a few more highlights and blend a couple things, but I think that metal looks great.